The X-Zone radio and TV show is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X-Zone radio and TV show or in any manner endorsed by Rob McConnell, rel-mar McConnell Media Company, Talkstar Radio Network, its affiliated stations, or employees.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And welcome back to the final hour of tonight's show, X-Zone Nation. It is Friday, April the 9th in the year 2010. My name is Rob McConnell, and we're coming to you from the X-Zone, a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard from our studios in beautiful Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, on the Talkstar Radio Network, the X-Zone Broadcast Network, and our growing family of broadcast affiliates right around the world. If you'd like to give us a call, toll-free worldwide, 1-800-610-7035. My email address is xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. On MSN Messenger, xzoneradiotv@hotmail.com. And our website, www.xzoneradiotv.com. And we have some exciting news that we're going to be able to break next week here on the X-Zone about the Paragators TV show that we do. And if you'd like to get a little hint of what we're up to, visit the Paragators website at www.paragators.org. My guest this hour is Candace Talmadge, and Candace is a native of Los Angeles. She is the co-author of The Healing Circle. She moved to England at age 14, where she learned Shakespeare and other English literature from those who knew it the best. She also twice cruised the Mediterranean, you lucky devil. Candace returned to the U.S. to attend Brian Maurer College, graduating in 3 years with honors, a bachelor's degree in history. Becoming a professional writer in 1976, Candace was on staff or freelance for numerous media that included the New York Times, the International Herald Times, Forbes, Reuters America, Business Week, the Dallas Times Herald, and Adweek. She has written thousands of news business articles, country government stories, and features. Now she blogs as Stone Scribe and writes political columns for the North Star National. Joining me now is Candace Talmadge. And Candace, welcome to the X-Zone.
Thank you, Rob. It's really great to be with you and your guests this evening.
It's so great having you with us. You have done it all, but what really got me was, the cruise in the Mediterranean twice. What was that like? Share it with us.
It was wonderful. The sea around Greece, the Grecian islands, is the deepest, inkiest blue I've ever seen in my life, and I can see it in my mind's eye.
Wow.
This was 4 decades ago, and I can see it like it was yesterday. It's a beautiful place. I'm probably one of the only American citizens who has actually visited Libya. I managed to do so about 2 months before the American government made it illegal for people to go to Libya back in 1969. And that was a fascinating journey back through time because we were going to visit an ancient Roman Colosseum, an amphitheater right on the Mediterranean that was a couple of hours out of Tripoli. So that was a fun visit.
We've got about 40 seconds before I have to take my break, but I have to ask you this. What was the most exciting part of the Mediterranean cruise?
The sea storm. The Mediterranean gets very violent, and when you're in a small ship, it goes up and down a lot. So we had a couple of stormy nights that were very interesting.
Heavens. All right, you and I will be back on the other side of this commercial break. I've got to hear a little bit more about the sea storm when we come back, Candace. Great having you with us. Candace Talmadge is our special guest this final hour of tonight's show, X-Zone Nation. Her website is www.greenstoneofhealing.com. That's www.greenstoneofhealing.com. And like I've said, look for some exciting news about Paragators TV at www.paragators.org. That's www.paragators.org. I can't tell you today what the breaking news is. I will be able to tell you next week, but I've left a couple of hints at www.paragators.org. I'll be back on the other side of this commercial break with Candace Talmadge, whose website once again is www.greenstoneofhealing. On the other side of this 2-minute commercial break, don't go away. Modern Esoteric, Beyond Our Senses by Brad Olson, consummates the lifology story about where humanity originates. It is the lost continents, the primitive wisdom, the mythos of creation, and the rethinking of ancient history as we are taught in academia. There is much more to the story than what we have been told. As this is the first book in the Esoteric series, Modern Esoteric starts at the beginning of time and accelerates up to this modern age. Future Esoteric is book 2 in the series and takes a forward-looking position ahead of today with an open and honest examination of the ET issue and various unexplained phenomena. To discover the writings of author Brad Olson, visit www.bradolson.com. That's www.bradolson.com. Named one of the world's greatest psychics, Elizabeth Joyce is now giving readings worldwide via Skype. Elizabeth Joyce is recognized for her clairvoyant ability to help find missing persons, her analysis of dreams, past life regression work, mediumship, and her accurate predictions. Elizabeth has been a frequent guest on the X-Zone radio show with yours truly, Rob McConnell, now for several years. For an appointment with Elizabeth Joyce, call 201-934-8986 or Skype at elizabeth.joyce. And for more information, you can always visit Elizabeth Joyce online at www.new-visions.com.
Do you have a dis-ease that you would like to alleviate through a natural means? Have you been contacted by angels, ghosts, or even extraterrestrials and want to validate these experiences? Or would you simply like to speak with someone who can help you find your life's purpose? I'm Dr. Joseph Mara, and I'm offering my services free of charge for first-time clients contacting me during the month of April. These free consultations include angel card readings, guided meditations, life coaching, and energy healing. If you have always wanted to explore these types of experiences but were skeptical or simply could not afford them, then take advantage of this free special offer. Contact me through my website, aguidinglight, spelled lite.com, to schedule your consultation today. Until then, I offer you love, light, and laughter.
Welcome back to the X Zone, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell. Candace Talmadge is our special guest. Her website is www.greenstoneofhealing.com. And before we get into the meat of the interview, I've got to hear a little bit more about these Mediterranean storms that you actually sailed through a couple of them.
Yes, it was just on the cruise, and when the Mediterranean gets stormy, it's pretty choppy, and we were in a tiny boat of about 6,000 tons, and that's tiny. I mean, it's really small. It's not like a big ocean liner, so you just bobble up and down like a cork in the sea, and it gets pretty exciting.
Did you get seasick?
I got dizzy, not seasick, but I just sort of got a little dizzy, but that was nothing compared to the real fun we had on the cruises and looking, because in the Mediterranean you get a real sense of how old some civilizations are and how far their roots go back, and it really evoked, or it strengthened my own love of history, and that played a role in my own personal development, because my introduction, if you will, to the paranormal was researching ancient history of a lost civilization called Atlantis, which I'm sure some of your listeners have heard of. And that took me on my own personal journey of growth and healing. It all tied into the Mediterranean.
What did you discover about Atlantis? Is Atlantis real, or is it a myth, a legend?
There is an excellent book by Otto Muck, a German, I believe he's an engineer, about as left-brained as you can get. It's called The Secret of Atlantis. And it marshals every left-brain scientific thing, and he demonstrates, at least to the satisfaction of my left brain, that there was a lost civilization, a lost Atlantean type of civilization. It's a great book. I recommend that anybody pick it up and read it, and they will be quite amazed. But the thing is, Rob, when you're talking about the paranormal and these ancient mysteries, there's really two levels to approach it. There's the level that the left brain wants, which is the research and the evidence and that kind of thing.
Right.
But then there is also another level of self, and that's the spiritual and emotional. That part of you isn't really interested in quote-unquote facts or evidence or data. It wants the experience, the emotional reality of it. If you think about a topic like past lives, there's been a lot of research that is absolutely mind-blowing about the possibility of reincarnation. And if you do this research or you read it, you go, wow, that really makes a really strong case. But that's all it does. It just kind of opens your left brain, your logical part of your mind to the possibility, because there are things that cannot be explained in any other terms that this research has uncovered.
Right.
But the problem is, how do you live this finding? How do you live this truth? That's what my journey took me on, was because I desperately wanted to write this novel, and I had wanted to write it since I was a little girl, but I needed to be able to live this reality and live this alternate vision of human civilization, and I couldn't do it from my left brain, so I had to go to my right brain, to the spiritual and emotional parts of my being. And that's what led me to explore past lives and resolve issues that came up in those past lives. And lo and behold, back in 1998, I just sat up one day finally after decades of trying to write, and I went, I can write my book now. I can write my novel. And that's when the writing began, because I tapped into the energy of my awareness of those past lives. And that's what my fiction series is based on. It's based on at least two of my past lives and the past lives of family, friends, and acquaintances. And bringing those up and recalling them, and also resolving many of the issues that are in those past lives. Because the past life I'm currently writing about, as a character named Helen Andros, it's one that she was living that Chinese curse, may you live in interesting times. Well, Helen had an interesting life. And it was one that's great to read about, but really, really difficult to live. So I've been resolving those issues surrounding her life and writing the story of it.
All right, let me ask you this.